There was that trade term that would have upgraded the compensation if the Jaguars had re-signed him before the start of the league year. They didn't. They were waiting, and then the Titans swooped in. I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to read between the lines of what he was saying, but obviously he was coming off of the suspension for violating the league's gambling policy, and maybe the Jaguars tried a little too hard to protect him when there's a point where you just got to let him be himself. He's a grown man. He can do interview requests. He can talk to people. You don't have to put him in a shell just because he had that year away from football. If somebody asks him about it, he talks about it. He's talked about it. It's over. It's done. Let's talk about how I'm playing now. And he played pretty damn well for the Jaguars last year, and I'm sure they're upset to lose him.
Yeah, I would think they are. And I would think it would only get better. I mean, as it being his first year back there, right? I mean, he's just kind of getting his sea legs underneath him here. This is a bona fide number one wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, that's what the Falcons thought of him before all of this. And, of course, the gambling stuff really derailed his career to a degree. But he's back on solid ground here, right? And yeah, I mean, again, I don't know any of that inside info either. But obviously he feels like, yeah, they were maybe too protective of him or thought he was maybe a little too emotional after some games and they didn't want him to talk. Either way, the year was inconsistent, as we know. It would be a good game, and then it would be like, hey, where'd he go for a game or two? Then it would be another big game. He did have the drops and all that, but you see the physical ability. And then I think the ultimate thing is just kind of what we hit on last week. From by all due accounts, I mean, Tennessee's offer, they knew they needed a receiver, right? And they kind of blew everybody else out of the water. I think that Tennessee offered him probably $2 to $3 million more per year than all the other teams did. So I think that made his decision, ultimately pretty easy when it came down to it.
Well, that's absolutely right. And they saw the value there, and they knew that it was going to disrupt the Jaguars' plans.
Right.
Kind of like what I thought somebody would do with Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Not that I was rooting for it, but it's like, what happened to the days when you see a great player on a rival and it makes you better? It takes a chunk out of their plans. It's a win-win. It's a double whammy. It's not like grabbing a guy from a team in the other conference. You're grabbing a guy from a team in your own backyard, and you're screwing up what they had planned to do. And they had this specific plan, and Ridley admitted it. They were waiting until after the start of the league year to sign him, so they wouldn't have to give up more to the Falcons.
Right.
And it blew up in their faces.
Yeah.
Because he decided, I'm going to take more money from the Titans, and it was a hell of an opportunity for Tennessee to come in and take him away. And they still need to have that guy after A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks hasn't gotten it done. So now Will Levis has a targeting Calvin Ridley that can help improve.
Got DeAndre Hopkins still too, right?
That team.
Yep. So that should be okay.
Is he still under contract?
I think he's got one more year.
Did we figure that out?
I believe he's one more year, if I remember correctly. I did look at it last week, and I think Pete will back me up if he'll get to it at some point. But, yeah, I think they still got him. So it's not a bad duo to have with Hopkins on one side and Calvin Ridley on the other.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.